I won't do housework at all. You, the maid, will do everything," commands my husband as I'm feverish and staggering. My ability to think is significantly impaired, and I unwittingly respond with, "Understood." Although I'm a stay-at-home wife treated like a maid, if he keeps this attitude up, he might end up in a serious situation. For instance, becoming jobless? But he knows nothing about my planned revenge. Just you wait and see. I'll make him regret it. My name is Sarah, 45 years old. I used to work as a manager in a restaurant but recently quit. What? Why did I quit after climbing up to a manager position? Because I got married at this age. My husband's name is Ryan. He's been a banker since graduating from college. He has a title and is what you'd call an elite. Before we got married, Ryan asked me, "I want you to fully support me since I'm busy with work." I loved my job, so I hesitated to quit when he asked. However, getting married was a dream come true. A request from my partner I couldn't ignore. Deciding to support my husband, who would be busy and under a lot of stress both mentally and physically, I took on the role. Ryan is 3 years older than me. We met on a dating site. It's not that I never had the chance to meet someone before, but before I knew it, I was in my mid-40s. Prioritizing my career, I suddenly realized I had missed my chance to marry and thought, at this rate, I'll be lonely forever. Even though having children was out of the question due to my age, I strongly wanted to get married, so I registered on a dating site. Thinking, who would want to be with a woman over 40 anyway? I didn't have high hopes. But then Ryan contacted me, saying, "I'm in the same age group as you," and I was overjoyed, replying immediately. After dating for about a year. Just a month ago, we finally tied the knot. I guess I shouldn't have rushed into marriage. I mean, who would have thought Ryan would turn out to be such a terrible person? At the beginning of our marriage, well, it's still the same now. But the first 2 weeks were really fun. It felt like the honeymoon phase, truly like a dream. We're both at an age where a big wedding isn't necessary, right? We said and decided not to have a ceremony but just a photo wedding. Then we went on a 1-week trip to Guam, and after coming back, we spent every day cuddling at home. I used to work almost every day, but supporting my loved one as a full-time housewife didn't seem so bad after all. Just when I thought, let's give it our all from here on out, the atmosphere started to turn ominous. "Hey, my dress shirt! What's going on with it? What's with this ironing job?" Ryan scolded me harshly. I immediately apologized and re-ironed it. While I was ironing, Ryan suddenly opened the closet, took out one of my dresses, and questioned. "What's this dress? You didn't have this before, did you?" When I answered that I had bought it recently, he threw the dress at me. "Spending money when you don't earn any as a full-time housewife. Don't waste money." Even though I explained it was bought with my savings, not household money, he kept insisting it was a waste. Well, I'm not single anymore, and maybe I do need to think more carefully about how I spend money. Thinking maybe he was right to call it wasteful, I apologized. "From now on, you are forbidden from spending money on anything beyond the bare essentials. Even for groceries, buy cheaper stuff." That was a tough demand. I said, "That's a bit much." And his mood worsened, kicking a trash can and yelling at me. "Don't mess with me. Rebelling against your husband as a full-time housewife. You married me, so just keep quiet and listen to me." I couldn't believe Ryan, who had been so kind, could change like this. My body flinched at his sudden outburst. Did he find my reaction amusing? He started yelling even more aggressively. And loud bangs echoed throughout the house. It was terrifying. I cautiously tried to calm him down, but he was beyond listening and just kept raging. Then, he brought up the ironing incident again. "Come on, how long have you been a woman? At 45, you can't even iron properly. Is that why you've never been married before?" But, I've only been a full-time housewife for 2 weeks. I've always focused on my job and managed household chores in a half-hearted way, so being criticized so harshly and directly really gets me down. Before we got married, I told Ryan, I've always been working, so I'm not used to household chores, when he suggested I become a full-time housewife. He said with a smile, "It's okay. We'll manage until you get the hang of it. I'll help out a bit too." But that Ryan seems to be gone now. Our new home, which we had just moved into, quickly turned into a mess. The mugs we picked out together, now broken, seemed to symbolize the state of our relationship. Yet, Ryan's rampage didn't stop. I decided to take refuge in the bathroom until he calmed down. Even in the bathroom, I could hear the sounds of Ryan's tantrum. In that small space, I shivered, trying to suppress my voice while tears streamed down my face. At that moment, I thought about asking someone for help, but my parents are too old to rely on. And, being newlyweds, making a fuss seemed wrong, so I felt helpless. I had run to the bathroom in fear without thinking and didn't bring my smartphone. Without a way to ask for help, I felt utterly hopeless. After about 10 minutes, it finally quieted down. I timidly opened the door and peeked outside. To my surprise, there was Ryan, cleaning up the mess he had made. Despite his earlier fury, seeing him calmly picking things up was unbelievable. Noticing me, Ryan came over, looking sheepish. Seeing me on guard. "Sorry," he muttered and hugged me tightly. "What happened?" I couldn't understand.
"Look, I married you, thinking I had to support us financially, and then the stress got really bad. I'm truly sorry. I won't do this again, sorry."
Ryan, crying as he said this, seemed truly regretful, and I ended up forgiving him. Looking back, I should have walked away right then and sought advice from someone. I think I was too caught up in the sweetness of being newlyweds. And then, I just broke down crying, so I don't remember much after that. I do remember cleaning up the messy room together, but it felt like throwing away happy memories too, which was sad. A week after this shocking day. I don't know if he forgot about it or what, but Ryan went off the rails again. That day, I had been feeling under the weather since morning. It seems like, with age, or maybe it's menopause, my body doesn't respond like it used to, and I've been feeling off more often. Moreover, colds take longer to recover from than when I was younger. Even staying up a little late takes a toll on my body. This is tough. As I was coughing, Ryan, who was nearby, casually dropped this line. "Hey, don't you dare get me sick." I didn't understand what he was saying at first and couldn't respond right away. Doesn't he have any comforting words for his wife? I was so baffled, I asked him why he would say something like that. "I'm relied on at work. If I catch a cold and go down, it's gonna be a big deal. Unlike you, who's just a stay-at-home wife with nothing but chores." I couldn't believe my ears. It was as if he was looking down on stay-at-home wives, no, on me. And Ryan kept on with his lowest comments. "Don't pass your cold to me and get better fast. And by the way, no matter how bad you feel, I won't allow any slacking off on the chores." Slacking off on chores. Doesn't he think about letting me rest when I'm feeling sick? I was so irritated that I snapped back. Then, like before, Ryan started yelling. "It's just chores. You're a stay-at-home wife, it's only natural for you to handle them." I realized arguing with Ryan in this state was pointless. Fed up, I just nodded and started doing the chores with my weary body. "Yeah, that's right." Ryan left for work with a smirk on his face. It made me so angry, I wanted to yell back. But, unable to talk back, I cried out of frustration for being so helpless. Was it because I forced myself to do housework despite being physically and mentally exhausted? By midday, my body felt incredibly heavy, and I felt feverish. When I checked my temperature, it showed 38.1 degrees Celsius. A reminder that pushing myself too hard at this age is a bad idea. I decided to stop doing housework and rest. It seems I was more exhausted than I thought, as I slept deeply for a long time. When I woke up, it was dark, and Ryan's scowling face was right in front of me. "Sleeping in the daytime, huh? Must be nice," he snapped as soon as I woke up. I tried to explain the situation. But Ryan, who had said such things in the morning, wouldn't listen. "Shut up. Don't you dare use having a fever as an excuse to slack off and nap instead of doing housework." Demanding housework while I'm dizzy with fever. Seriously, I can't. "Sorry, but today, you need to take care of yourself," I said, but Ryan threw a cushion at me. "Why should I have to do housework? You became a full-time housewife to support me, didn't you? Stop being so spoiled." Indeed, I chose to be a full-time housewife to support Ryan. But I've been saying how hard it is to do housework when I'm not feeling well. And yet, he still demands it? Doesn't he see how unreasonable it is to expect housework under these conditions? My mind was foggy, but my emotions swelled. But confronting him might lead to another outburst. The last thing I needed was a repeat of that incident in this condition. With the fever, I had no choice but to listen to Ryan. Then, feeling emboldened, Ryan made a terrible statement with a laugh. I won't do any housework. You, the maid, will handle everything. Maid. When did I go from being a full-time housewife to a maid? Hey! Are you listening? If you understand, then respond, you maid. I had a lot on my mind, but no energy to talk back. Understood. Being physically and mentally drained, I inadvertently agreed. Arguing seemed too much trouble, and as a result. Then hurry up and make my dinner. I'm going to take a bath. Demanding dinner as if it were the most natural thing. Why do I have to stand in the kitchen feeling this dizzy? I immediately regretted my understood response. As I reluctantly got up, Ryan made another absurd demand. Oh, by the way, next Friday, I'm having my boss, colleagues, and subordinates over to show off our new place and you. And our wedding photos. Everyone wants to see them. Make sure you get over your cold by then, clean up your messy face and the room. Aim for a room without any sign of living in it, and make yourself look younger. Hearing this, something inside me snapped. Is this something you say to someone feeling dizzy? Especially about next Friday. That's in just a few days. I don't know if I'll be well by then, and it's too rushed anyway. And what's with calling my face messy? Feeling a rush of emotions, I thought, I'm definitely going to make him regret this. I decided to get back at Ryan. 4 days later. My fever had gone down, but I still had a bit of a cough due to phlegm. Come on, we have guests coming today, and you're still not over your cold? Yes, today was the day Ryan's colleagues from the bank were coming over. Although I was 90% recovered from the cold, it wasn't completely gone. And I was just getting over it. Could we possibly reschedule? It wouldn't be right for the guests, I suggested. Ryan responded with a dismissive attitude. Look, being a banker means being incredibly busy and scheduling is a nightmare. Everyone made time for today, and you're not noticing this? If you were a more thoughtful woman, you wouldn't have caught a cold in the first place. Always with the sarcasm. Does he think he's being cool? Fine. I'll make sure to hydrate my throat and fully recover before the guests arrive. Reluctantly agreeing, Ryan started ordering me around with what needed to be done before he got back. Make sure you clean up properly before I get back. Don't leave laundry lying around. Like I said before, I want zero signs of living here. And don't you dare serve bad food. Don't embarrass me. Ryan was pumped up for the guest's visit. It made his tone even harsher than usual, tripling my irritation. When I looked at him defiantly, he glared back without backing down. Hey, you're a full-time housewife, right? So you're basically the maid. And you're taking that tone with your master? Still spouting ridiculous lines. Does he think he's some kind of king? Commanding from his high horse. My word is law in this house. I'm the one in charge here, so it's high time you changed your attitude. This wasn't the speech of a king. It was tyranny. I momentarily wondered if I should kneel and kiss his feet, it was that outrageous. Unbearable to listen to. Wishing he'd just go to work already, I nodded. I'll have everything ready by the time you get back. As I said that, Ryan left for work with a pleased look. Just make sure everything is spotless. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to say, clean up that nasty face of yours too. The dirty face comment really irks me, and I wish he would stop. Especially since he's no prize himself. Putting himself on a pedestal while looking down on my appearance, classic tyrant behavior, right? I watched Ryan leave, irritated. Once he was gone, I immediately started getting ready. Aiming for a no signs of life look in the apartment as he demanded. Since I had already moved stuff around while Ryan was at work for this day, this part was relatively quick. And then, making my dirty face clean. This actually took a lot of time, but what can you do? Ryan insisted. As I was preparing, 6:30 p.m. came around quickly. Ryan and his guests would be back in 30 minutes. I rushed to get everything ready on time. After 7 p.m. I'm home. Brought everyone from the office. Guests entered, saying, "Excuse us," as they arrived. As I greeted everyone, Ryan's eyes widened.
Ryan's wife is incredibly beautiful.
Everyone complimented me, but Ryan looked incredulous. Well, he should be. After being called dirty face, I was so annoyed that I went to a spa and a hair salon, even bought new clothes. Looking in the mirror, I barely recognized myself. While everyone was mingling, Ryan seemed somewhat displeased. Probably thinking, how dare a full-time housewife indulge in luxury? But he couldn't make a scene in front of his colleagues as usual. I thought, that's very, very sad. I then led everyone to the living room.
Wow. Your place is really neat. Are you a minimalist or something?
Ryan was surprised again. I had sold or thrown away a lot of my stuff from my single days, so there was much less clutter. When Ryan saw the confusion, someone noticed something. Are you going on a trip tomorrow or something? They had found a duffel bag and a suitcase. I had packed my personal belongings. Even Ryan had to ask. Why are you doing this? He looked like a volcano ready to erupt. To that, I coolly responded. It's all according to your wishes, right? He seemed like he wanted to say more, but knowing him, opening his mouth would unleash endless rage. Ryan remained silent, though clearly dissatisfied. Then, as if to reset the atmosphere, I urged everyone to sit and started serving food and drinks.
Wow. Amazing food. That's the touch of a former restaurant manager.
The dishes weren't ordinary. They were made with high-quality ingredients. I had prepared everything the day before, just reheating and finalizing the dishes for today. This too took Ryan by surprise. How much money did you pour into this? He seemed on the verge of yelling. But, of course, he wouldn't dare say anything in front of the guests. As the party started, Ryan, having had a few drinks, seemed to be in a better mood. That's when I suggested. How about we look at our wedding photos now? Everyone excitedly agreed, eager to see. Ryan, eager to show off, beamed, "Show them off now."
Wow. You two look so happy together.
Internally, I scoffed at the irony, given his recent dirty face comments. I then, as if revealing my inner thoughts, showed them a video.
Hey, you're a full-time housewife, right? So you're basically the maid. And yet, you take that tone with your master?
What? The room went silent as if the previous noise was a lie. I had secretly recorded our conversation that morning on my phone.
Hey! What the hell is this? Stop it now.
Ryan panicked, trying to snatch my phone. But I dodged, turning the volume to the max to expose the real Ryan.
Stop it. What are you doing? When did you record this?
He lost his temper, hurling insults. His true tyrannical nature was unmistakable. Everyone's eyes were wide with shock. The room buzzed with whispers. Isn't this bad? He's been awful to his wife all evening. So this is his true self. Yet, Ryan frantically tried to grab my phone, eventually pinning me down in an attempt to take it. He was restrained by his colleagues, calmed down, as they pulled him off me. Ryan's colleague kindly helped me up, asking if I was okay. Eventually, Ryan realized the commotion around him and regained his composure. He must have realized he had gone too far. He seemed to regret it. What's with that audio from earlier and your violent behavior towards your wife just now? His boss confronted him. Colleagues chimed in, that's not right, leaving Ryan mumbling excuses. Seeing this, I felt validated in my actions. Apologize to your wife, chant started, and Ryan, for the first time, apologized on his knees. I'm sorry. But it was too late. And the apology felt forced, only made because others told him to. There was no way I was going to forgive him for this. Do you really think I'm going to forgive you? Even when I was sick, you made me work like a servant, treating me like a maid. I'm filing for divorce from someone as low as you. I pulled out the divorce papers from my pocket and urged him to sign. Ryan, not expecting me to produce divorce papers, panicked and grabbed my arm.
What? Divorce? Wait, I really messed up. You don't have to do housework when you're sick anymore. Please, don't divorce me. I want us to be together forever.
After all he had done, I was amazed he could say such a thing.
How can you say that? Who would want to stay with a husband who calls their face dirty and looks down on them?
Even in this situation, I felt genuinely happy when those around us commented, "Dirty face?" But she's so beautiful. Then Ryan pointed out my transformation.
I went to the salon and got new clothes because UI called my face dirty. I did all this just to meet your expectations. But I was afraid you'd be angry because it was a waste of money.
Ryan had no comeback and fell silent. Seeing him at a loss for words, he tried to change the subject. "So, what's with all the packed bags in the room?" I snorted and replied. "I was just making the room free of any signs of living, as you wanted." "And the bags?" "They're packed because I'm divorcing you and leaving today." This seemed to shock him. "What? You're kidding, right?" "I really am sorry. I got carried away because I got married at this age. I never really thought of you as just a maid." His desperate apologies seemed to ignore the presence of everyone around him. A pitiful sight, indeed. Ryan's superiors and colleagues were visibly taken aback by his behavior. And so, I put an end to this tumultuous scene by firmly telling Ryan it was over.
"No matter what you say, it's too late. I'm divorcing you and leaving this house. So sign this away now."
Ryan was shocked by my angry demeanor. It's no surprise, given how I've always been so submissive. Yet, Ryan hesitated to sign the divorce papers. That's when his superiors couldn't stand by silently any longer.
"If you really feel sorry, let her go."
Confronted by everyone, Ryan tearfully agreed to the divorce. I thanked everyone for their help and apologized for the disturbance before leaving with my belongings. Ryan tried to follow me but was held back, still shouting,
"I was wrong. I won't call you a maid anymore. Please come back. Please."
The once intimidating Ryan now seemed so small. And apparently, he was continuously scolded by everyone for his past actions, regretting how he had behaved. This incident spread throughout his company, leading to everyone distancing themselves from him. Furthermore, his superiors reported the issue. "If you're going to treat your wife like that, we don't want you here." It seems he was encouraged to resign, and now he's busy looking for a new job. Moreover, I filed for alimony against Ryan. Because of that, he had to pay from his savings, which significantly depleted his bank account, and now he's in a rush to find employment as soon as possible. Now unemployed and with his pride shattered, Ryan seems to be struggling with depression. Being labeled as unemployed has made him wary, wondering if maybe someone is pointing fingers at me, and now, he feels hesitant to even leave his house. Well, he brought this upon himself. I have no interest in what happens to Ryan from here on out and prefer to never be involved with him again. So, let's leave Ryan's story at that and move on to what happened to me after that tumultuous scene. That night, I stayed in a hotel and celebrated my freedom alone with a drink. I hadn't been allowed to drink during my marriage, except on trips, because someone who doesn't earn shouldn't drink. It tasted incredibly good. Rushing into marriage was truly a mistake, I reflect, regretting how quickly I chose a partner on a matchmaking site. After a long while, I enjoyed some drinks and, feeling quite tired among other things, I fell asleep rather quickly. But to my surprise, the next morning, I received a call from my previous workplace. When I answered the phone, it was a request for me to return to work, saying, "It would be a shame to lose someone as talented as you." Delighted, I accepted immediately. And am now back to working hard. Meanwhile, I'm staying in company housing until I find a new place. My colleagues have welcomed me back warmly, making me feel valued and comfortable. Despite the short marriage being full of unpleasant experiences, it taught me a lot. I plan to use in moving forward with my life.